Ooh. Ooh, yeah, dig it. Ooh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 3 of the phenomenon known to all. The Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, if you are dumb, stupid, blind, or just plain irrelevant, and you can't read the name that is above the ticker, I suggest you go back to school, go into your library, find the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the Phenomenal, and of course, here on Saturday afternoon's main event, I'm not joined alone, because of course, I have my co-host, my comrade, my tag team partner, the one and only limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, the deep voice dynamo himself, the owner of the Acai Moonsault DDT, the one, the only. Give me 2 claps and a peeps Nate.
Woo! Yes, I am here once again after doing many Acai Moonsault DDT front arm drag takedowns off the top of a building. I am here, Deep Voice Dynamo here, and I think we're going to have a really good show, especially after the last couple of weeks. We've had a lot of good things happen. We had some really good things happen in the world of wrestling. Us in general, our show is back on the air. We're happy to be here with you guys for another Saturday afternoon. And of course, I've got the pen, so you know we're ready.
So of course, you already know that means we're going to have probably tons of our digresses, maybe not, maybe so. We're going to have a lot to digest here, okay? So guys, we thank you for going ahead and tuning in with us here on YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We love that you guys are here supporting us as always on every other Saturday afternoon. And it is with us that we're going to go ahead and do our best to live up to our mission statement, which is to give you laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. And of course, you know that with here on Saturday afternoon's main event, when you hear this sound, it means one thing. And it is time for Wrestling Crash Course.
Yes,
Keeps
let's
you ready?
do it.
Let's
Yes, I'm
do
ready.
it. Fire it up. Okay, first one, the MJF and Cole connection. Yes, not Rock and Sock, but MJF and Cole, baby.
Yes.
Look, here's what I'm going to say. For what it is, we literally called it, all of us called it, even a fan a couple of weeks back, called this team the Two-Man Power Trip 2.0. I said to myself, you know what? He has a point. Fast forward to this past week on Dynamite, and you sit there and you begin to notice the shades, and you're just sitting there like, you know what? Maybe this is starting to become the Two-Man Power Trip. This is nostalgic in a sense. You have bitter enemies and one person that wants to hold the title, siding with the champion. Both men were both faces and heels, converged together, and now everybody loves them. But you know, the one person that does hate him is Roderick Strong. But you know, I digress for that one.
Oh, there you go. First one right there.
3 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. Jeez.
That's
But-
number 79. So we're on our
79.
way. Yes.
Oh my gosh. We're at the same age as Ric Flair? Jesus.
Woo!
How convenient. How convenient.
Yes.
But, yes, as I was saying, look, for what it is, the tag team, I love it. The storyline, better. Imagine if they were to put the tag team titles on Adam Cole and MJF. Peeps.
Wow.
You know, for what it is, I love this tag team. What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen? Of course, I know there's going to be a churn, but I think Cole's going to be the one to churn. What are your thoughts?
I love the dynamic. I'm on the longer the lines of what you're thinking also, because I was of that mindset as well. What I think would be better, even though I don't think this is where they're going, because I have a feeling that they want to keep Cole a face. But if you really want this dynamic to really work, you let them both stay heel. We all know Adam Cole, when he is a heel, is an insufferable prick. We've seen him do that role when he was in Ring of Honor, when he was in NXT, and when he first got to AEW. So we know he can do it. MJF, he's cornered the market on being a heel and kayfabe 24/7, 365, and the extra day on a leap year. So we already know all that going in. I like the dynamic. I like the vignettes that they've been doing. And I love how they've been almost making fun of the fans in the sense that we're faces. We're trying to mesh together. At the same time, we're insulting the fans' intelligence by trying to go face. And the one dynamic that they've been trying to work in for the last 2 matches that they've had, double clothesline. Can they get the double clothesline off? See, there are aspects of AEW that can drive us nuts.
Oh, yes.
This isn't one of them. The way that you want this to work is if they do go heel, they stay a team, with Cole knowing in the back of his mind he does want to get that world title, but you work this in, and maybe you can draw another miniature faction out of this. And I think if this goes in, and let's say they do win the AEW Tag Team Championships, the craziness that could come out of it, they already have their own T-shirts. Did you know AEW? They're all about T-shirts, but they haven't gotten the, we've had enough time for talk. It's time for the main event. They don't have that as a T-shirt yet. Get on that. Get on that.
You're not wrong on
but
that.
But right now, I really, that's an opportunity that they're throwing away. But I digress on that one. There's number 2.
Second one.
This is number 2.
6 minutes in, we're already at 2. Jeez.
Exactly. I think we know where this is going.
Exactly.
I really want to see this happen. I ultimately I have the feeling that if they get a tag team title match, one of the two is going to turn on the other to cost them, and that's going to lead to a match for the world title between those two. But what I would love to see is that this continues on. They get on the same page to some degree and stay as a tag team, and then kind of work that for at least a couple of months to see what kind of traction they get, because the fans want to cheer for MJF. MJF, he is so over as a heel, and that's usually the best definition of a true well-rounded personality, is that if you can work heel so bad that the second you have the glimpse of being a face, they will cheer you as well. He can do that and work that fine. I was just almost over a year and a half ago in Long Island when AEW was there during the height of the CM Punk MJF feud, where Punk was booed vociferously, and yet MJF, because he was at home, you would have sworn he was Hulk Hogan. They gave him standing ovation. They cheered his name. So yes, if they got behind him as a full-fledged face, of course he could. But we all know MJF is much better as a heel, and I think Adam Cole is also.
Definitely. But speaking of MJF, let's just go ahead and just backtrack to what he said this past week off of Twitter. After his match on Dynamite, he says, "I'll never forget the day I body slammed a 500-pound Big Bill in front of 90K screaming fans in the Saskatoon Silver Dome with my bro, shout out Adam Cole. Brother."
This is where psychology works, because they teased throughout the entire match. Body slam! And he worked the crowd for 5 minutes to see the world champion body slam a wrestler that everybody has seen before. And they marked out every time he was about to go for the body slam. He would get him up, and then he would drop him. Oh, my back! Oh, my back! He did that at least 2 or 3 times. And then when he finally was able to get this up, I want you to think about what we're talking about here. Beginning of the show, and we're talking about the mastery of how MJF worked the fans for a body slam spot. Think about that. That is the genius of MJF. And of course, with Cole playing in on it and going for the tag me, and he's going after him, and he's trying to go for the hot tag, and he can't get it off. And then he finally, as the match went on, he was able to get that body slam in. I have to admit, I laughed when he finally got the body slam off. I laughed. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, they are cheering for a body slam spot.
Honestly, I cheered. I'm not going to lie to you on that, peeps. I cheered.
Yes.
But for me, the funniest part had to be the minute he tried to lift Bill up, and he just had on my back, and it just seemed like he had a cramp. I said, you know what?
He's like, oh, my back!
My back. I felt like I was watching that one episode of SpongeBob where you heard that fish in the back after an accident. My leg, like
Yes.
forget it. Oh my gosh! Honestly,
Oh,
yes,
man.
the best thing going for the tag team division right now in AEW. I kid you not. And for their
Yes.
feud itself, Adam Cole, MJF. Tony, finally, you got something that I can sit there and cheer you on for. Amen.
Yes.
But
Now,
Hot
the
Rod
rest
is in
of
the
show's a
cut.
different story.
We don't talk about that. We do
Yes,
not
yes,
talk about
yes.
that. But Hot Rod is here. Hot Rod says, should Cole turn on Strong and kick him in the face? Funny, because next thing you know, the Phenom went ahead and responded back to that and said, I'd prefer to kick you in the face, Hot Rod. So they're already, Pete's,
They're already warned.
the carnage of not being on the air last week to tell the fans that we were too crazy at the Garden. This is what happened.
Yes.
They
are
now
ready
come
to
back.
start chopping each other in person.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys. You're great. Keep going in the comments if you need to. Give the people what they want.
Yes.
Anyways, side note on that one. Let's go ahead and get into the next topic. In the world of WWE, LA Knight to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me talk to you, okay?
Oh,
Let me
boy.
Let me get this straight. So we're gonna get onto this later on in the show, but I'll just tell you this. And close your eyes. It's better when you close your eyes because the images and visionary is just better.
Yes.
So imagine yourself at a sold-out Madison Square Garden. And of course, this doesn't do me justice. It does Peeps Nate's justice because Peeps was actually in the vicinity. I wasn't.
Yes.
And you're in the concourse area, okay? You got fans passing with a bunch of beer bellies, and children going ahead and already dropping popcorn on the floors. You have the garden
$15
concierge.
hot dogs and everything.
You get the point. But
Yes.
in between all that, you're sitting and you're standing there, okay? And out of nowhere, straight up out of nowhere, you hear Hit Row music come on. The fans kind of just, boo, whatever. Nobody's moving. The concourse is filled with people. Nobody's going straight out into the arena to get into their seats. None of that. But the minute LA Knight hits the theme, you see fans running straight into the tunnel, trying to catch a glimpse of the one and only megastar who is LA Knight. Yeah. But you only have him on the pre-show. Like literally, you're telling me you don't even have him on the actual. But that doesn't say anything else. Fast forward to this week, we now find out that LA Knight might get a push to take the United States title off of Austin Theory. Peeps, the wrestling gods have answered our prayers. LA Knight is about to be a champion.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Peeps? What are your thoughts?
I'm thoroughly happy about this. And the reason why is because first of all, a lot of us thought, especially going back to our predictions 2 weeks ago for Money in the Bank, about how LA Knight was going to probably win Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And as said, although we wanted LA Knight to win, I thought in my mind it was going to be somebody else just because of how over he was. He didn't need the Money in the Bank to get over and to bring that along. And I think that the way that their mindset is that, you know what? You're right. He doesn't need Money in the Bank to get over. He's already over. He's probably as over as Cody is, if not more. And I'll tell you, as everybody has said before, as just my partner just stated, you close your eyes and you just picture, just looking around. For anybody that's ever been to Madison Square Garden, if you haven't been, close your eyes. Big, cavernous stadium. Our seats were literally, this is to show you, for those that don't know how good our seats were, we were 3 rows behind the commentary booth. That's how close we were. So, sitting down, relax, the Hit Row segment goes on, and then all of a sudden, you hear the music, LA Knight comes out, and I kid you not, and I am not exaggerating, this was the loudest that I have heard the Garden since Triple H came back in 2002 after he had torn his quad. And I make no over exaggerations. I've got no compunction in telling you that that's exactly how it sounded from my ears, from what I saw, and from the fans that were out there. Now, one of the things that Mr. 411 had stated as far as how somebody would get a push, or how their push is going to go, is by merchandise. We saw the LA Knight shirts there, the yellow shirts that had the yeah on the front. By the time I actually thought about getting one of those shirts, they were all sold out. So I guess it's safe to say he's going to get a push, a big push.
He's over. Oh, he's
he
over.
Is
he's
as
over.
As anyone that I've seen in this company in the last 10 years. And what I'm seeing right now is that they have finally come into their senses. They know what they have in LA Knight, and they are finally going to hitch the wagons to him and give him that first really good push away from that disgusting Triple M that they gave him, which were the male maximum models and all of the Max Dupree and all the other garbage that they put him under. This is his reward for sticking through all of that garbage. And he's getting a push, and we're seeing right now the fruits of their labor, because he needs to get over. He needs that push, and even more so, I think he needs some gold around his waist. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. But peeps, I'm hearing that they're going to be turning him face. Do you think that goes ahead and damages it? Or do you think that he's going to go ahead and go around the route of it just like The Rock did? The somewhat still self-centered face that kind of cares about what the fans want, in the sense of they just want to see the heel rot. So in the sense that they actually go into SummerSlam, like the Phenom is saying, LA Knight is US champ, booking at SummerSlam. Theory has been a failure as champion. Since Theory is like the most hated type of person inside the WWE, and you hop on a gravy train that is LA Knight, and you fast forward to SummerSlam, do you think he would still kind of play that heel persona, but just want to kick the heels, like Keister, but like the fans will still love him? Do you think that's what they're going to go ahead and go out, or do you think he's going to be like full-blown kissing baby's babyface?
I don't believe he's going to be a milk-drinking, kissing baby, shaking hands kind of guy. I think that his character, even though he is going to be a face, is like a tweener. He comes across as a high-energy tweener that has lots of heel tendencies with an attitude and a self-confidence that you would get from The Rock or Triple H, somebody like that. But he's going to be cheered based on the fact that he doesn't have to change anything. Somebody like Austin, who was, let's really be honest, when Austin got into the WWF, he was a heel, plain and simple. Austin has really, as far as I'm concerned, always been a heel. But what happened is the fans just started cheering for him. He never changed. He was still a heel. They just liked him. So it's the same thing here with LA Knight. It's the same thing when he was in Impact as Eli Drake. Same kind of setup here. The fans love his gimmick. They love when he talks. The only thing that's missing is the dummy button. But I don't think it's missing to the extent that he needs it. But if he wants to, he can pull the dummy button out of his pocket if he's getting into a promo battle with somebody and just throw the dummy button at somebody.
Theory just right. Just pull out the dummy button for Theory. But you know what?
Here's something for you to press. And what does it say? Dummy.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do. And right now he is set to go, as you stated here, to the moon. Sorry, Cameron Grimes, we had to borrow. That's a gimmick infringement. That penalty. That penalty right now is a full penny. So there you go.
There we go.
Put it right there. I can see that happening relatively quick. The fans are going to get him over. And can you imagine what the fans are going to sound like in Detroit, knowing that he's going to potentially get a title shot, and then he goes over? Now, on the flip side, and this is something which is kind of sad, I really like Austin Theory. I like his in-ring persona. He's definitely money in the ring. He has the awareness. He has the moveset. He's got the cockiness. The problem is, and this is something I understand why they did it, but it kind of exacerbates his push, is the fact that what Cena said in that promo battle when he tore him apart before they had their match, it kind of rings true.
Yup.
Outside of what he does in the ring and everything, he's come across as they haven't built anything on top of him. He's come across bland. And that's something that they have not corrected. That's something that has to change.
Definitely. You're not wrong on that. But, we'll just have to wait and see, because maybe without a title, they go ahead and make Austin Theory what he has to be instead of putting him around, guys that wear bralettes. Have mercy. Oh, God.
Boy. Yes.
Yeah. I digress. Third one of today.
There you go.
Now, we move to another thing. Now, look, guys, I know I wasn't a part of this era. And I know that you guys are going to go ahead and sit here and be like, why are you doing this? Like, honestly, why are you doing this? But I just have to. Now, look, we're moving into the news of the world of AEW now. And it's the AEW ban move list. And I have the list right here, okay? Trust me. No BSing. I have the list right here. And the list goes like this. The first one, arm drag. The second one, arm bar. The third one, the moss-covered three-handle family gradunzel. Fourth one, arm bar.
Oh.
The fifth one, the Saskatchewanian spinning nerve hold. You know what? Let me stop, guys. I'm sorry.
You're also forgetting the Tongan death grip.
and the other 550 other ones, arm bar. Okay.
Yes.
Let's not get it twisted. But yes, guys, we do have a list now of banned moves in the world of AEW. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just asking myself, why? Because of all things, they started in 2019, and it hasn't been that big of an issue to go ahead and sit there and actually ban things. So here's the thing. This is what they're saying. And I quote this from WhatCulture.com. They say, the document that is, while there is always a risk in pro wrestling, they wanted to minimize the risk without compromising the quality of the talent's performances and ability to be creative. Specifically, a document was sent out that outright banned unprotected chair shots to the head, shots to the back of the head, buckle bombs, and blind moves backwards into the turnbuckle, fencing responses, Caesar cells, Bryan Danielson, spitting, bleeding in the crowd, weapons or projectiles in the crowd, taking drinks or food from guests in the crowd, MJF, or physical contact with the crowd. We're told that nothing with blood on it should be thrown into the crowd. And that's not all. Aside from the outright banning of the move of above, the report also provided a full verbatim list of spots, stipulations, gimmicks, etc. that require full approval by medical and coaches assigned to the match. The report moved to make clear the difference between banned items in the following bit. All of the below now required pre-match approval. So, anything that has to do with chair shots, inverted poison hurricane rana, inverter breakers, high-risk dives or top moves like 450, 630s, double moonsaults, intentional bleeding, not just blading, throwing people...
Moxley's gonna be in trouble with that one.
Exactly.
Ooh, what's he gonna do with himself?
Blood packs. Why not?
It's ketchup. It's ketchup.
Throwing any weapons or objects, chairs, choking or strangling with hands or a weapon or hanging spots, injury spots or angles, whether or not medical is involved, and any physicality involving referees, managers, extra celebrities, or special guests. So you're telling me AEW just went PG? Is this what it is? Is this what we're... I guess that's what it is, right? They're just banning everything.
Okay.
Well, before you get into it, Peeps, not a Hot Rod says they should ban the Phenom for his corny insults. He's not signed to the company, Hot Rod. Or should I say Hot Roos? I keep forgetting that. Anyways, I digress. Fourth one of today.
There we go.
Floor is yours.
Okay. This is a multifaceted topic. The reason why I say that is because we know what this is encompassing. We also know where it's coming from. But more in particular, it's telling as to why it's happening. Part of it is a positive in the sense that a good chunk of those moves that you just stated we would have just assumed that that was something that was in their bylaws of what you could and couldn't do in the first place, just on being safe. But the reason why this is, the bottom line of this is, AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery, which is the parent company for all of Warner Brothers and all of their properties, etc., and they own all of the Turner networks and television and everything underneath it. This sounds like this is kind of the prerequisite for them getting a contract extension to sign on with Warner Brothers and then flush that company out so that they are kind of like a cornerstone of the entertainment and branding within there. So obviously they don't want to get sued. So they want to make sure that their top talent are there for years so they don't get hurt.
Definitely.
They don't get sued by any fans, i.e. the MJF, throwing the alcoholic drink at a child not knowing there was alcohol in it, or wrestlers going into the crowd and bleeding all over. First of all, let's really be honest, to bleed all over a fan, that's it may be hardcore, but it's definitely not sanitary. But
there we go.
There are a lot of fans out there that will bleed all over me, please, Mox, bleed.
Marks.
Yes, keep your blood in your capillaries.
Like
keep
like what you would call it, like MJF said at that media scrum. Moxley's hepatitis A through Z. Keep that to yourself.
Yes. I'm reminded of a stand-up comedian that said, keep your insides inside of you. I don't need to see them outside. So yeah, I think the majority of that, first of all, buckle bombs should be banned in general. We already know what happened to Sting. And I'm not talking about that leap off that ladder from a couple of weeks ago. That's something completely different. We know buckle bombs are dangerous because if you think about it, Sting's career, even though we thought it was ended, it shortened it by a couple of years because no one thought he was going to ever come back and wrestle again at his age to take that buckle bomb. Second of all, we also know that Finn Balor lost a good chunk of his career to a buckle bomb in the railing outside of the ring at SummerSlam when he won. He was the first WWE Universal Champion. So we know buckle bombs are dangerous, or any move that requires somebody to be launched into a turnbuckle, into a steel step, into a railing, into something like that. Something like that is very dangerous because you can't really protect yourself if it's done the way that we've seen in the past. So that goes without saying. Now we go into the other things. Wrestlers are usually able, on the fly, to call certain spots, judging by what's happening with the other wrestler, things that they know that they've tried in other matches at house shows that they know that the fans like or dislike. The problem is that has to be now coordinated with the referees who get the call from the back as far as how much time is left in formatting the match. Then you have to worry about, okay, is this going to be different? Is this going to be changed? And the other thing that you stated, seizure spots. We have gotten to a point in professional wrestling, and this goes to show you just how great professional wrestling is, where when wrestlers do injury spots, a lot of times we don't know whether they're legitimately hurt or not, because they've been able to blur that line between an injury and, they're just selling. Fans are now more knowledgeable, so they're smart to the fact that if something happens, the referee threw up the X sign. And that's not a CM Punk signal. That's to tell the guys in the back, there's an injury, bring in something, and we need to get something done. But they have teased those in story modes as far as the storyline of a wrestler getting hurt. Or we're going to write him off for a while because he is legitimately injured. And if there's no coordination or any knowledge that something like that is going to happen, then the executives that are running everything don't know something is happening. And they have to find out what's going on because it gets back to the shareholders. One of our wrestlers is legitimately hurt. We have a reputation of getting guys hurt, etc. It goes on and on and on. But really the bottom line is they're keeping themselves protected just in case they get sued. They don't want any litigation happening from either the wrestlers or from any of the fans. And that's one of the things that you have to really think about. Like, you don't want to be on the opposite end of the Brock Lesnar car door chuck that he did, if you remember, when he decided to take that car door, rip it off, and then throw it into the crowd. You don't want to get a steel chair in the back of the head, and then all of a sudden, well, this person is in litigation and suing AEW for $35 million. Or you get Raka Khan coming out of nowhere suing AEW because she thought she got hit by a flying chair from 7,000 miles away. You don't want to have any of that.
Or she found out that Tony Khan is her illegitimate son. What a good storyline that would be.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Let me not. Guys, don't listen to what I'm saying right now. Please.
Don't put that energy in the air because they just might actually do it.
They just might actually, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Raka Khan, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, have mercy.
Yes.
But still in the world of AEW, we're going to go ahead and get to the next offer. AEW All In will be on closed circuit television. Let me stop. Guys. If you can read the top of the ticker, it'll be on pay-per-view. Okay, calm down. Calm down. Closed circuit. You know how many people would actually buy that if I actually said it? You know what? Have mercy.
Or if you live in the New York area, what they used to do is if wrestling shows were on closed circuit, go to the Beacon Theater. Go to your local gym and find out right there. I saw WrestleMania 3 at a school gym where they had it on a projector and everybody paid money and sat down and watched WrestleMania 3 in a school gym. So, hey.
You know what? Even better, guys. You know what? Look. AEW All In, live from Wembley Stadium, will be emanated from PS207 in Brooklyn, New York. Let me stop, guys. I'm playing. Guys, I'm playing.
Yes.
Please.
From the bingo hall in Pennsylvania. No, okay.
From the Elks Lodge. I digress. Let me stop.
We got 5 of them already. Oh, we're going good today. It's been 2 weeks. You know why.
We're making up for it. We had to get it out of our system, right?
Yes.
Have mercy. Okay, but yes.
Oh, boy.
All In will be on pay-per-view. This is the announcement that we've been waiting for the fattest minute, and now we finally got it. So, peeps, now that we know it's going to be on pay-per-view, do we think this is going to be the highest buy rate AEW's done since All Out last year?
I think
or just
so.
Biggest in general.
It is really going to come down to what the card is. I mean, the stadium is already, what do they got, 70,000? At least, 70, if they haven't reached 70, they're already past 70,000. So if they're going to do that, then they have to now have a card that matches the ticket sales and the hype. Because it would be rather disappointing to have All In on pay-per-view, and it's nothing more than a glorified Dynamite card. I think there would be a lot of disappointed people.
Oh, definitely.
And knowing that AEW pay-per-views go for $50 a shot, there better be a reason behind having that kind of a show, knowing that you're going to have All In later on that next month, and then you're going to have Full Gear another couple months after that. Got to figure something out, because that's a lot of money to dole out, especially when you're only paying $9.99 for Peacock if you're looking at premium live events.
Peeps, you know what? Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and put it like this. If Ospreay Omega 3 is not on the card, I'm not buying the pay-per-view. I'm just letting you know now.
I understand. I have a feeling that not only will it be on the card, I have a feeling that'll be the co-main event, potentially.
Imagine it is the Cole. What's going to go ahead and overtop that? What are you going to tell me? Like, if it's not Cole and MJF, which I don't think they're going to go ahead and, end, what they're doing with them that early, I don't know what are you going to tell me? The Elite versus
Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's World Championship live on pay-per-view at Wembley Stadium. The main event. Oh, no.
You know what? Even better. Chris Statlander defends the TBS title against a mystery opponent. Oh my God, it's Jade Cargill. Wins the title, goes on another 3-year streak. Man. What are we doing here? I don't know.
Yes.
You know what? It's okay. See, even better. Taekwon, first time of today, go ahead and coming back in. We appreciate you, man. Boy. That's what he says. Luigi Primo versus Orange Cassidy main event. We missed you, bud. We missed you.
Yes.
Oh, man. But you know what? we can just wait and see what it's going to be. But honestly, not knowing that it's going to be on pay-per-view, look, guys, I hate it for you guys. I know you guys are not looking forward to spending a $50 on, Bleacher Report, knowing that app sucks.
Oh,
It sucks, ladies and gentlemen, just like the Brooklyn Cyclones. And guess what?
Ugh.
We're not on FCC, so I got to say it. Let me stop. But from there, we get into last one piece of news from Wrestling Crash Course, and that is SmackDown last night. So look, here's what I texted to peeps literally last night once the show was about to be over. Okay? And I quote, "The Hurt Business is expanding. Jey Uso super kicked the Wise Man. Shotzi Blackheart is turning into Serena Dweeb from the Straight Edge Society. What a Friday." So I heard a lot of people say that SmackDown was trash. I get why they say that. It was kind of slow paced. But I feel like this week's SmackDown was so much of just like a storytelling night. It was something to build feuds. It was more about building feuds instead of just having in-ring action. The in-ring action, it was whatever. I didn't care about it, but the storylines, it made it feel better. And that's what wrestling is all about, ladies and gentlemen. You guys don't understand that it's sports entertainment. Just not sports. Guys, the entertainment aspect of it is what's literally skyrocketing the world wrestling entertainment industry. I kid you not. And for what it is, look, Jay super kicking Paul Heyman, highlight of my night. Forget it. Like, I don't, I can tell you enough. Like, that was great.
He pulled it like a trip.
Straight to the chin. I felt like that was Shawn Michaels kicking, what's his face? Sean Spears before Sean Spears was Sean Spears.
Yes.
Before he was Ty Dillinger. You know, just Stan. You know, what's your name? Stan. Super kick. I just can't stand anybody. You know, like literally, calm down, Sean. That's for me, that super kick was golden. And just to hear Jay say, you've been puppeteering my family for more than 40 years, and now this is where it stops.
Yes.
Oh my God. Wow. That is
SmackDown was it seemed to me that if we're gonna, let's juxtapose last week's SmackDown to this week's SmackDown. If last week's SmackDown was Bloodline heavy for the development of the Bloodline storyline so that you can go and take that into SummerSlam, then last week was much more so developing the undercard for SmackDown, but also advancing the Bloodline to a point without Roman, because Roman can't be the focal point on every show.
Exactly.
And we know that. So you have to develop the key players around the rest of it to get the machinations of why Roman is having the strife now. So we know Jimmy is off TV for now. Jay is there by himself. First and foremost, Jay actually does look like a main eventer now. He came out with the black jacket. He came out looking really, really hyped with the fans. He connected with the fans. He was angry. And the way that they built on the storyline in ring was playing on his weaknesses. And the weaknesses that they've developed with Jay is he's unsure of himself. He's a little trepidatious, but also at the same time, he is trying to make sure that he can continue to trust, family oriented, yet at the same time, he's pissed. So the one thing that they really worked on was his self-doubt. He keeps doubting himself of why he's there, doubting his purpose. And if you notice, when Heyman started talking to him, you notice he started to put his head down, starts pulling over to the left, he's not making eye contact. That's a subtle storyline development that they're doing with Jay. And I think as that continues on, that's going to make him look that much more human. And the fans can get with him on that because everybody has felt that. And then the central story that they were going here is no one in the bloodline will forgive you for what you did, Jay. Your father, your uncles, Roman. And then as he starts to talk about, I will never forgive you, soon as he starts to talk, Solo grabs the mic. Not only did he grab the mic, he put his hand out like Roman did. puts the mic in there, and look, I will never forgive you either. It's like, oh, it's like that?
The fact
it's
that
on.
I didn't know that Solo spoke. He
Yeah?
speaks? That shocked me. The fact that he said that to his own, I was just like,
Yes.
Damn,
You treat Solo the way that WCW treated Goldberg in the beginning.
Yes.
Where he says very little, but when he does say something, it holds weight.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. He's like Ian Hutton. When he talks, everybody listens. And that's exactly what you got to do.
Exactly right. But I mean, you know what? For what it is, if this is the route that we're going for SummerSlam, with Jay going ahead and facing Roman, peeps, this build, it's been it. But I still need to see a little bit more. I still have to see a little bit more. It hasn't reached full peak yet. I need to see all out family brawl. I need to see, and the fact that Jimmy is off now and like, Jimmy's not really like on air. It's just like, is what I'm saying, is what I was saying prior to Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Is it gonna happen at SummerSlam?
Yes.
That's what I'm beginning to build to now, because it's just like, imagine if I was just one premium live event late or early.
Yes.
That's what it's gonna be. And I mean, let's just enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. Let's speak too soon on certain things, and this is what causes peeps to go ahead and hit there's a 5% chance. Let me not do that. Let's go ahead and get away from that. And let's just enjoy the food.
Let's reel it back just a little bit. There you go.
Exactly right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end for Wrestling Crash Course. And we will go ahead and get into our questions ASAP, but that is after we go ahead and we take our 30-second break. When we come back, we'll take care of the questions, and then we have one more feud or, somewhat of a good topic to go ahead and get into. And I'm telling you guys, the next one, it's a loose cannon. It is a loose cannon. But stay tuned. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event is coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, shows are all ages, welcome back to the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, this is a phenomenal one. Right down below me is the Mr. Peeps Nate. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into our questions, shall we, peeps?
Let's do it.
Okay, first and foremost, first one comes from Master Sean 007. He says, greetings, gentlemen. I have a fun question for the two of you. Why is a good part of the wrestling community so toxic with their behavior? Threatening others over an opinion seems immature. Thoughts?
You take this one first, and then I'll piggyback.
Peeps knows I was gonna want to take this one first because as much as I tell Peeps enough, Peeps knows how much on a daily basis I deal with these types of people. From the types of reels that I post to the types of threads that I engage into on Twitter. The amount of people that deem to show hate because their opinion seems obligated to matter in this world of professional. Do people deem to forget that the internet wrestling community seemed better when it was just on AOL? Am I wrong, peeps?
Yeah, you got a point there.
When it was just wrestling forums and people just wanted to ask questions and ask other people for their thoughts about certain storylines and how they feel about a certain wrestler, and if they felt that they needed to give out a hot take of somewhat saying, oh, JBL's gonna be this, JBL's gonna be that, he's gonna be the future, I don't feel so good about The Rock, this, that, the third, people would go into the forums and just explain their reasoning as to why. Value the other person's reasoning, but explain as to why they feel as if it's the other way around. Now we live in a generation where people deem to go ahead and sit there and say, no, I'm right, you're wrong. Let's go ahead and go about it this way. I'm the head honcho in here. I'll go ahead and do this. The amount of tweets that I've had to put out in a span of a year and a half to tell people, look, it's professional wrestling. They're getting paid for it while you're sitting here on Twitter and you're not getting paid a dime to sit here in my face and tell me baloney is insane. It's wrestling. We're enjoying it. If you don't, go to the next company and get over it. They don't. Here's the thing. Master Sean, the reason why is because they're just toxic. The IWC is a toxic place. As much as we know marks are the type of people to stand out at airports and get autographs from people just to get it on, just to put it on eBay, it's just as bad as the marks that are on Twitter and Instagram spilling out stupid hot takes and telling us that what they're saying is 100% the right way to go on certain things. Just last week, peeps, hear this out. Just last week, someone ended up going ahead and saying, with the way that Natalya has been presented, she should be the longest reigning women's champion. She doesn't need a women's title at this point in her career. Peeps, just agree with me on. You don't have to agree with me on this one. I just want your take. At this point in her career, does Natalya need a title? The silence is deafening. I don't have to say too much. See what I'm saying? Peeps gets what I'm coming from. Because it's just like, honestly, where are we coming from with this? I don't know. It might be that, or it might be Peeps just doesn't hear me. I'm not sure on that. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does. See, that's what it is. Peeps is probably having technical difficulties. Yup, that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. But you see, look, the fact that I go ahead and ask the question and it ends up doing this tells you enough. I'm just saying, guys, at this current point in time, we don't have to go ahead and sit there and, deem about toxic behaviors, especially in the world of wrestling, because it's just like, look, it's what's expected. And with that being said, Peeps Nature's back, ladies and gentlemen. Peeps.
Yes.
It's the fact that it does that the minute I go ahead and ask that question.
Yeah, as the internet wrestling community coming after you.
Exactly. But Peeps, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Okay. This is one of the reasons why, and I full disclosure, I don't have social media at all. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have a Facebook and Instagram account. That's just me. And the main reason why that is because although the wrestling community is really, really fun to engage with, especially they have great opinions, they have an idea for storylines, they have thoughts on what they think may happen with anything going on, I have seen the opposite side on, messages you sent me, things that I've looked at, friends of mine that have seen on Instagram or on another social media page and have looked at certain things and like, you know what this? Oh, I know that. And it's like, okay, my opinion, just like your opinion, is just that, an opinion. Now, my opinions may be based on facts, but that doesn't necessarily mean that because it's an opinion that it is a fact. And we can have a healthy discussion or debate on something that's happened in WWE or AEW without it devolving into name calling and saying all kinds of things and all of those that happen there. Now, we know that the wrestling community is passionate about whatever the subject is, whether it is who within the bloodline is going to do what, their particular favorite wrestler, which is always subjective to whoever it is that likes that person. You may like Ric Flair. Somebody might like the Ultimate Warrior. Somebody may like The Undertaker. Somebody may like Roddy Piper. Somebody might like Austin. Then you got people that will complain that the old school didn't know what this current generation does. And then they'll say they like Seth Rollins or that they like Cody Rhodes. And it goes on and on and on and on. And I'm pretty sure before social media existed, we're having those same discussions about Bruno Sammartino and Pedro Morales and Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the reason why I bring that up is because everybody's opinion is just that, an opinion. I will always respectfully listen to everybody's opinion, the same way you do, the same way all of the great people that watch our show and they have an opinion And they'll say, well, I think such and such can happen. And then I'll listen to it like, you know what? That's a good point. I actually like that. Maybe this is going a certain place. But the thing that I do like about the people that watch our show and that do comment, they're not toxic in the sense that if you don't believe what I say, then you're going to go to hell with a spit rod in your arm and you're going to roast in the fires of hell. No, we don't deal with that. Exactly. And that's the one thing that I think that is missed in just as a wrestling fan, is that you can tell me your opinion. You can tell me why you think a certain thing is. And even if I don't agree with it, I don't have to impugn you by getting on you personally or going absolutely insane. There's a small level of tribalism in pro wrestling. Has always been that way.
Of course.
But at the same time, your opinion is your right. You have the right to say whatever you want. And it's my right to listen to what you say. And if I agree or disagree, that's my right without it devolving. That's all.
Definitely. Right on the nogger, peeps. Master Sean 007, good question. We hope that we answer it to the best of your ability. Next one comes from Doctor of Economics. He says, day 1061. I'm starting to like this group. We're better than you, baby.
That is the most positive thing I've heard him say in about 8 months. Our discussions of our help, what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where we talked him away from the negativity, I think it's helped him. So now we're starting to see something. It's working. It's working.
Ladies and gentlemen, see, we're gonna introduce something new on Saturday. Look, aside from questions, if you need any type of help, we are going to have a toll-free wrestling hotline, and we're going to set up a number as soon as possible for you guys. If you have any negative comments or anything that is falling on you, and you feel as if you have to get it out in the sort of wrestling way, go ahead, call us, and we'll get you, okay? We got you, trust. Because if we can help Doctor of Thugonomics after an exact, as Peep said, 8 months, then I guess we can help you too.
Yes.
Trust me, guys. We got you guys on the money. The Doctor of Thugonomics, we're glad you're in good spirits now, because, wow, it's been a journey.
Yes.
But from there, we go into Hot Rod 316 question, and he says, which broadcast team was better? Gorilla in the Brain or the King and JR? It's going to be one of those other opinionated type of comments.
This is going to be good. I'm actually curious as to hear what you have to say first, and then I'll give you my answer out of those two, and then I'll give you my favorite, and then my dream broadcasting group.
Okay. So for me, look, guys, I have watched a ton of VHS tapes and a ton of DVDs and a ton of premium live events, and back in what my heyday, the Ruthless Aggression era, was called pay-per-views.
Yes.
To know how these four men has shaped professional wrestling as a whole. So when it comes to Gorilla and the Brain, God love them. God bless their souls. They gave everything to the company when it came to commentary, in-ring psychology, storytelling within from what they were going ahead and calling. All of it just great. Gorilla, the Brain, love them, top 1%. And then you have my era, the Ruthless Aggression era, what I grew up on, which was not being able to watch Raw on Mondays, but being able to watch it on a Spanish syndicate channel where they only had it for 1 hour and they only showed like the bigger highlights and the bigger matches in the main event. So it'd be first match and segments and then the main event. But of course, from what I remembered, I can go ahead and switch the, switch the audio signals to either Spanish or English. So I switched it back to English. And for what it was, look, when it comes to Jerry the King Lawler and good old JR, guys, that for me is my that's my Heenan and Gorilla. I can't really speak too much on it because, of course, when you talk about some of the WrestleMania matches from my era, when you talk, and it sucks that I'm gonna have to bring this one up because this one and another match I'm gonna bring up in a couple of minutes are my two favorite matches from what they called. And top one greatest match that I've ever watched and heard commentary from JR and Jerry the King Lawler from was the triple threat match at Mania 20. That match still lives in my mind. And, literally Jerry the King Lawler's, commentary towards the end when Hunter was about to tap. And he's just like, oh my God, is Triple H gonna do it? Is Triple H gonna tap? Is he gonna tap? Oh my, and then next thing you know, out of nowhere, he taps. And you just hear Jerry the King Lawler, that shriek always, literally, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's like the closing ending, from JR, where he's just like, what a night that we've had here at the Garden for WrestleMania 20. We've witnessed the return of the dead man. We've witnessed, Evolution go ahead and go into full tech and full speed. And now we've witnessed Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit standing in the middle of the ring. Both best friends with long history as champion. For me, still reigns true. Greatest Mania ever. Greatest match that I've ever watched, and greatest commentary team to ever call it. But when it comes to those two, if I had to go ahead and pick one, I can't. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Here's what I keep saying. It's like debating Jordan and LeBron and Kobe in the same sentence. Who do you rank from 1 to 3? And the easiest response that I get from a lot of people is, you can't debate it because they're all from a different era. Grow to enjoy it. Don't compare, just bask in it. That's how I sit there, and that's how I look at it. Because truth be told, those 4 men shaped how much I love pro wrestling. From WrestleMania 3 and Gorilla Monsoon to Jesse the Body Ventura calling that show to, just Bobby the Brain Heenan. And literally, look, Heenan with the, just, oh my gosh, Gorilla, why, just literally, peeps, you do the impressions every single Saturday. I can't really just sit there and say that Bobby the Brain Heenan does not have an influence on us,
Yes.
And the same thing goes for Jerry the King Lawler and JR. So look, for me, no debate, no comparisons. I just grown to love the 4 of them, and that's how I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. And if I had to go ahead and have a dream announce team, easy. I'm gonna put this on the spot right here. Okay? You're gonna have JR. You're gonna have Michael Cole. And if plausible. Because if we have Michael Cole, JR, we're gonna have the heel. So put the brain in there. Put the brain in there. I like it. That's how I'll go. Peeps, what are your thoughts?
Oh, this is actually one of my favorite questions. First of all, Hot Rod, that's a good question. I really like that one. If you have to pick between the King and JR and Monsoon and the Brain, of those two, first off, as you said, it's a tough question to get to as far as that goes. JR is without question the single greatest play-by-play voice I have ever heard. Period. That is without question my favorite part of the broadcasting business is play-by-play. I did play-by-play when I was in college for basketball and baseball. So I know exactly how that is. That goes into describing what you see and trying to make sure that you can be as descriptive as possible and convey the joy and the angst and all of the stuff that you see so that the people can actually enjoy it and see it. Just to kind of close your eyes and then listen to what the play-by-play guys are doing. And then they convey what they are telling to you in that description. So as far as that auditory aspect of it, Heenan and Gorilla absolutely used to crack me up to no end. And I would listen to all of the things that they would say, and they would go back and forth. And then Heenan, it was like Gorilla was the straight man, and then Brain would be the guy that would just knock him down. So I'll set you up, and then you knock the pins down.
Here's one funny thing, and I just got this from the Phenom. You remember this quote, right?
Yes. Will you stop? Or my favorite. My monitor went blank, Monsoon. I can't see what happened. He just pulled a fork out of his tights. My monitor went blank. I don't know what I saw, Gorilla. Now, as far as different teams that have been out there, my favorite WrestleMania calls were Gorilla and Ventura. The first 4 or 5 WrestleManias, WrestleMania was only called by Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura. And that was usually the only time that they commented with each other as a team. Then, of course, you had Saturday night's main event, and then you would have Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura. They would do it. Vince
shut
and
up,
Bobby
McMahon.
Heenan. Shut up, McMahon. With Jesse Ventura. I tell you, the amount of matches that I've listened to and watched and heard, the banter back and forth. And I remember sending you, and this is something that's kind of a lost art. I sent you a link probably a couple days ago of a match that I saw a long time ago. I was 11 when the match came on. It shows you how.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yep.
It was a match between the Midnight Rockers. This is from the AWA. Between the Midnight Rockers, Playboy Buddy Rose, and Doug Summers for the AWA World Tag Team Championship. And it wasn't so much the match. The match was absolutely done perfectly. And that is a perfect example, if you go and watch that match, of what Jim Cornette talks about as far as psychology and how you book a match. But that's not the reason why I bring that up.
And the blood?
And the blood. And how it was used. It was, first of all, it was nicknamed the Bloodbath match for obvious reasons. But even more so, there were 2 aspects of it that I think are lost to time because that match doesn't get discussed as much as it should. First of all, the fans. The emotion that came out of those fans that watched that match, they looked like they were ready to rush the ring and start going crazy and pulling chairs out and start throwing it. They were that emotional. But more importantly was the commentary. Now, for those that may not have known commentators from way back when, 2 guys that have since passed on, which is Rod Trongard and Lord James Blears. Rod Trongard used to call baseball games, but he was also a professional wrestling announcer. He worked for the AWA for many, many years. And the things that he would say, the emotion, he played it straight. He didn't call, oh, he's a face, or oh, he's a heel. He called it right down the middle, which then added that heightened importance to the match. That's what I loved about commentary from back in the 80s that you don't get today unless you listen to, let's say, Ring of Honor, or you listen to one of the other promotions that has commentary where they have it right down the middle. Mm-hmm. But if I had to go ahead and pick a fantasy group of guys that would do it, I've heard Jim Ross and Jesse Ventura. They worked together in WCW for a couple of years. I've heard Jim Ross and Paul Heyman. They were absolutely enjoyable to listen to, both in WCW and when they called it on Monday Night Raw. If I had to go ahead and say I want to get a booth, I would have to say Jim Ross, Jesse Ventura, Bobby Heenan. If you put all 3 of those guys there, and you could either interchange Jim Ross with Gordon Soley, or you can take him out and put in Gorilla Monsoon. Any combination of those 3, if you have Ventura and Heenan to drive the play-by-play guy absolutely insane while he's trying to call the match, that would probably be the most entertaining television you would ever get for a match, because you would get the, as I call it, as I see it, Jesse Ventura, and then you'd have Bobby Heenan throwing in that little, I'm a heel, I see these certain things, and he would get on what he would see, and then he would get back and forth. It would be insane. And the fact that we really didn't get much of Jim Ross and Bobby Heenan, but for a couple of times here and there, it's a crime. So yeah, that's what I would do.
You're definitely right, peeps. From here, we got the Phenom who says, what gets underrated is Vince and Jesse. They told stories.
Yes.
You're completely right on that.
100%.
Hot Rod says the best commentator team is really the Hot Rod and the Phenom, but anyways, I digress. Oh, shut up, will ya? But peeps, you're my tag team partner. You're my friend, my comrade. You know this. But you're getting flamed right now in the comments on Twitch. And this is Taekwon doing all the flaming. So you know this you're in for a treat. First thing he says, Peeps was 17 when Lincoln had his wrestling career. Next one, Peeps saw Harriet Tubman's Best of 7 series with the Confederacy. And last but not least, Peeps saw King George sell a drop kick from Washington.
Remember, it was a drop toe hold. That's what it was. A drop toe hold. Get it right.
You're buying into this too? Oh, God. Oh,
yes.
Man. Oh,
I'm telling you. First of all, I know that the fans that look at wrestling over whatever period of time that they've seen it, they have their own favorite voice that they grew to identify with. For those that were in the territory days, they got Jim Ross, they got Lance Russell, they got Tony Schiavone, they listened to David Crockett, who I still to this day say was one of the most biased broadcasters I have ever heard. He always railed on heels like it was no matter what. And that's why when Nikita Koloff clotheslined him on TV for insulting him, I cheered. That's the first time I ever cheered for a commentator getting clotheslined. So we've had that. Or if you grew up in the Northeast and you were on Vince and Jesse Ventura, and the reason why it worked was because Vince was such, he called it such for all faces, no matter what. And Jesse was right down, he was to keep Vince in check. I'll give you a perfect example. Saturday night's main event. If you remember Hogan versus King Kong Bundy, the second match that they had, because they had 2 matches. The first match, Hogan won by, I think Bundy won by a count out or disqualification or something, which prompted a rematch for the next Saturday night's main event. And the way that the stipulation was set up was that Andre the Giant was in Bundy's corner because he wanted to make sure that Bundy won. Bundy lost. So what happens? Andre comes in while Hogan is posing, 2 headbutts, and he chokes him out. Now, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. Vince is talking, he's trying to choke him out. He's trying to choke him out. And Jesse Ventura's like, what do you mean trying to choke him out? He is choking him out. That was my favorite part of the whole thing. Like, what do you mean trying? He's squeezing the life out of Hogan. And everybody's coming in the ring trying to beat Andre up. And then Andre throws Hogan to the ground, headbutt, throw everybody out of the ring, yoke Hogan back up, and chokes him again. And you could hear Ventura just absolutely, he's choking this guy out. And Chump Hogan is being choked the life out of him. That's what you miss about that.
See, honestly, for me, one of the greatest calls from Jesse Ventura, and of course he could say that this is biased because of course I'm an Undertaker fan. So of course the most ominous one, Survivor Series 91, I believe, 91 or 92.
Yes,
maybe wrong on that. Taker wins the WWE title due to the fact that Ric Flair comes in. And
yes, that was Tuesday in Texas. I remember that.
Tuesday in Texas, before Tuesday in Texas, and literally all you hear is Jesse Ventura on the other end. Hulkamania is dead, I tell you. R.I.P. Rest in peace. It's over. Forget it. It's done. But I have to tell you, this Tuesday in Texas, even greater, peeps. I mean, for God's sakes.
Yes.
The amount of ways that we were blessed with commentary is just it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yes.
But I have to agree with your booth. Your booth, the Brain, Ventura, and Ross. Look.
Yes. They would it would be so entertaining.
That's golden. I have to agree with you on that. That one is golden. Hot Rod 316.
For those even before that, just before that, and I am not going to, for those that know who Gordon Soley is.
Oh, of course.
Gordon Soley's nickname was the Dean of all wrestling announcers, and there is a reason why. If you have ever listened to anybody, if you even love Jim Ross, you owe yourself a favor. After the show is over, go on various platforms where you can find Gordon Soley, maybe when he was calling matches in Mid-Atlantic, when he was calling wrestling in Florida, listen to Gordon Soley. He is an elder statesman that spoke it, what he saw, the emotion, his cadence, the excitement in his voice, without question. Gotta check that out.
Definitely. You're not wrong on that, peeps. Thank you, Hot Rod, for that question. You know,
Yes.
I hope I know we answered it to the best of your ability. I mean, for God's sake,
Yes.
you probably listened to the first 5 and you couldn't understand the rest of the stuff we were saying.
He just
God's
he just wanted us to hear his name being called on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there you go.
Publicity. It's okay,
Yes.
Hot Rod. We get it. Last question comes from Tombstone City Adam. I don't even know if this is a question, but this is what he says. Why the hell was the Phenomenal One, the Peep Snake, and Mr. 411 on my screen last week at the Garden for SmackDown? Impromptu same episode at MSG. So we did. See, here's the thing. So I'm sitting there, you know, inside MSG, 3 rows behind commentary with the Peep Snake,
Yes.
with the Hot Rod, with Mr. 411, and of course with the Phenom. Shout out to all you guys. And, you know, out of nowhere, I think this was after, you know, the segment with Grayson Waller and Edge. And I get a text from my boy, and he says, yo, bro, you're on TV. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you made it on Fox. I was like, what do you mean we made it on Fox? And long behold, guys, look, I sat there, and I tried to find it, and I found it. Look, it's better if I go ahead and I just show you guys the video, and you guys will understand what I mean by this. Because truth be told, for me, I just sat there like, what the heck? Look, guys, without further ado, let's just go ahead and share the clip.
As a matter of fact, I talked to the powers that be today, and I'm going to have a match here tonight.
Yes.
Long behold,
Yes.
guys, what the heck? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, yes, we had a joy with that. Guys, yes, you did see us on your TV screens. Yes, that was us. Look, it's okay. We get it. Look, you guys know us. We're global like that. And you guys wanted to just say, like, you know, they probably hit the Leonardo DiCaprio that's just sitting back and just like, you know, like, yeah, it's the Peep Snake. Yes, guys. Look, yes, we were at the Garden last week. Yes, we went to SmackDown.
Yes.
You know, it was just good seeing everybody. It was my first time seeing Peeps in person, in the flesh.
Yes.
It was just a great moment. I kid you not. And the seats, listen, being that close to the ring at the Garden, it does no justice. It really does no justice. We enjoyed every single minute. Those 2 hours and a half, because of course the dark matches were great. It got you off your feet, of course.
Yeah.
We got to see Seth Rollins. We got close to the new big gold belt, which of course I have to say does look nice. We got to see
somebody seems to be convinced that they might actually pick one up at some point.
Yeah. Guys, look, I know I kind of crapped on it before. And I know I said to myself, I wasn't going to go ahead and spend $500 on the belt. But, you know, I sit there and I look back at, you know, Goldie right there. And I say, you know what? Goldie kind of looks lonely. So, I don't know. I don't know. You know, what do I know? I'm just a 400-pound girl in the room. Maybe one day, you know, after October, you'll be sitting here and you'll be, you know, logging on to YouTube and you'll just be coming on to Same and you'll be saying to yourself, oh, the Phenomenal has a new big gold. Yeah, you know what? It just might happen, just spontaneously. You know,
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. But I have to say, last week, greatest show I've ever been to. Of course, I've been to Mania, but you know, after Mania, this was my second time at the Garden. Best show ever. I kid you not. It does no justice. It does no justice.
Yes.
Being there with everybody, and guys, look, I know when I say everybody, it just wasn't Mr. 411. It wasn't just the Phenom, and it wasn't just Peep Snake. Guess what? The one trash talk, the one guy who likes to talk the most scat in the comments section here on Saturday Afternoon's Main Event was here as well. You know what I'm talking about? The Hot Roos. To your right, ladies and gentlemen, far right with the glasses. Yes, that dweeb right there was with us. Have mercy. Oh God. Oh Lord. Peeps, you know what? As I said, it was just fun seeing you guys. It really was. And to make it on TV, listen, that was even better. I didn't expect it, but hey, it happened. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. Who would have known? Who would have known?
Yes.
But yes, for you guys that saw us, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for the shout out. We saw you guys post a little bit too, so that was great as well. But thank you guys. We really appreciate that. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Who knows? Down the line, maybe again, you'll just catch us on another, episode of Raw, or SmackDown. Whatever happens, whatever happens.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh man, not Taekwon saying that's my AI. That's AI.
Yes. It was all created.
Yes.
Everybody had on a VR headset, and it only happened on TV. That's all it was.
CGI generated, guys. Yes, definitely.
That was a preview of WWE 2K24. There you go.
In the flesh, totally. But guys, most definitely, this marks the end of the questions for Same. We appreciate you guys. We always love the comments, the questions, whatever you guys send in, we love it. If you want to continue to keep doing that, continue to keep doing that. And there's only one way to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and DM us on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_main event. Send a question in. It will be guaranteed to be viewed on the next episode of the show. With that, we're going to go ahead and get into the last topic. Oh, look at that. He says, did you get that copyrighted? Asking permission. Yes. Don't worry. We'll be good. No infringements on this end. You're good on that. Trust me. But from there, we'll go into the last topic of today's show. And this also has no copyright infringement on it as well. So guys, please do not worry. But here's what I'm going to ask. If there are any children viewing this right now, I suggest you log off. If you want to stay, you can stay, but please ask your parents' permission first.
Yes.
We'll let you go ahead and get the quick You probably asked them, probably didn't. Who knows? You're gonna be courageous. So do that. But look, what we're about to show you, I just feel like today's the right day to go ahead and just sit here and show you a quick little promo video. If that's okay, it's gonna be only 2 minutes of your time. It's nothing too crazy. But look, guys, without further ado, don't you think we should just show it, peeps?
I'm going to sip my water, and you continue to show it. Yes.
Okay, then, no problem. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to this.
Let's take you, ladies and gentlemen. We are live now. Suburban Cincinnati with Brian Pillman along with Kevin Kelly. And, of course, everyone knows of the injury sustained, at the WWF Superstars about a week ago. And, Kevin, would you proceed with the interview?
Yes, Vince, it's a very tense scene here in suburban Cincinnati tonight. Brian, I have to ask you, after the unprovoked savage attack last week on WWF Superstars, you had, I understand, reconstructive surgery once again on your ankle. Can you give us the prognosis? What have the doctors told you about your recovery?
Look, Kelly, I'm alive and well. I got an excellent prognosis for 97, but let's talk about Mr. Austin's prognosis. I've been in bitter feuds many times in this sport. There's a fine line between business and private lives. Austin, you've crossed that line. You've made this personal. And now we're operating on a whole different set of rules, son.
And Brian, we heard earlier that Stone Cold Steve Austin could be on his way to your home here tonight.
Actually,
can't move.
Kev, if I can interject this, I'm told that, in fact, that we have Mr. Austin circling the neighborhood, and I just wonder whether or not, from your standpoint, Mr. Pillman, if you can hear me, it seems to me that considering your vulnerability with your wife, Melanie, and
well, Steve Austin's very vulnerable as well.
Well,
I think
do you
his
feel
rage has blinded him to the fact that his best friend knows him better than anybody.
Do you feel
his strengths, his weaknesses, and certainly his fears?
Notwithstanding your bravado, do you feel a hostage? Do you feel like you're a hostage in your own home tonight?
Steve is a dead man walking, because when Austin 316 meets Pillman,
oh my God,
9mm Glock,
oh my God,
I'm gonna blast his serious straight to hell.
Steve Austin's out there now, man.
What?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, of course, if you remember that exactly, that costed the WWE a local apology on every single television in the US in the late 90s.
Yes.
And of course, who can forget Pillman has a gun? You know, that has to be, most definitely probably one of the greater strengths of the Attitude Era. Because you couldn't really tell if it was real or if it wasn't. Because of course, then it cut later onto the scene of, Austin getting into his house, and all you see is Pillman pointing the Glock at him as if he was Arn Anderson in 2020. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're asking to yourself, why the heck is the Phenomenal One showing us a clip of Brian Pillman having his infamous promo in the late 90s from Monday Night Raw?
Yeah.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not heard, there is most likely a loose cannon on the loose in the WWE. Ladies and gentlemen, there are reports that are circling that Brian Pillman Jr. was spotted at the WWE Performance Center this past week, which is now leading to reports that since Pillman's contract is up with All Elite Wrestling, that maybe that sighting at the Performance Center wasn't just a regular one-off. Ladies and gentlemen, we are hearing that there are high reports coming in that maybe Brian Pillman Jr. is on the way to signing a contract with the WWE. Now, for what it is, Brian Pillman, God rest his soul, a great in-ring talent, was great on the mic. I loved his promos in ECW. You know what I'm talking about, peeps. What he did on WWF at the time, I felt as if, of course, the peak of his career was that feud with Austin. The stuff with the Hart Foundation here and there, somewhat good. I thoroughly sometimes enjoyed it.
Yes.
But I always felt that there was just that need for Pillman to fully get that bigger push. Unfortunately, it never came. But of course, we have Pillman Jr. And as much as we know that the resemblance is uncanny in his father,
yes,
we also know that his work in ring is also top tier. We know that he's a good worker. We know that he is able to go ahead and be high risk, just like his father. We know that he has a good skill set. And of course, even within just the promos and stuff, we know that there's more for him to go ahead and be able to do. But in WWE, the possibilities are endless. Of course, the one thing that we know is not possible is him going ahead and becoming Loose Cannon Jr. and just, pulling out a Glock on national television again.
Just the sound of that, the Loose Cannon Jr. Oh my goodness,
Loose Cannon Jr. Wow. But
yeah,
but for what it is, peeps, Brian Pillman Jr., WWE. What are your thoughts? What do you think is going on? What do you think will happen?
Well, first off, we know that he is pretty much a free agent because it's not like AEW cut him. They just allowed his contract to lapse. So they didn't re-sign him. One thing about Tony Khan is that he doesn't outright fire people. He will give you the chance for your contract to be honored. And if they have no intentions of signing you, they will just let it go and it'll expire. And then you are able to go wherever you so choose. If you want to re-sign with AEW at some point, or if you want to go elsewhere, WWE, MLW, GCW, wherever you're going to go, you're free to do so without that no compete clause in your contract that kind of restricts where you can go and for how long. So I think with this being the way it is, it works twofold. One, Brian Pillman Jr. has been around for quite a while. He's been wrestling, I believe, about 8 years, maybe about that long. He wrestled at MLW before he signed with AEW. He was one of the athletes that was on the first show of AEW Dynamite. He teamed with Griff Garrison, called themselves the Varsity Blondes, and you had Julia Hart was the cheerleader that was in their corner before she turned and went to the Dark Order. We know that Pillman Jr. had a miniature feud with MJF over the disparaging comments that MJF said about his family.
Just letting you know, you had the MJF stuff. Ooh, but peeps.
Oh, that yeah.
You mean the House of Black? said Dark Order.
Oh, how? Yes, I stand corrected. Yeah.
I guess he's just having a
I
loose cannon
guess I
moment
got
as
the
well.
black mist in my face and lost my mind
Yup,
periodically.
Loose
Yeah.
cannon moment. It happens. It happens.
There
It
you go.
happens. It's good.
Yeah. So what happens is that feud that went on with MJF, we know, even though it wasn't really a full-fledged feud, it happened for like maybe a month, maybe a couple of months. And we know that those comments that MJF said about Pillman's family, knowing that Pillman's aunt was there and was saying all things about your mother is this and she's this and that, and he really went in. And that got really personal really fast. So there was potential there. And then shortly after that, he was sporadic as far as between tag team matches that didn't go too far. He wasn't really prominently featured on cards. His promos weren't as good as they could have been, which needed a little bit of work. So going to the Performance Center, if he is indeed a free agent, hasn't signed with anyone, if the WWE sees in him what we see in him in ring, and they just improve on certain things, I could see him on NXT getting the seasoning that he would need, and potentially having a match, a couple of matches with Wesley, having some matches on the card and showing that he is good enough to compete on that roster. Against a Baron Corbin, those kinds of matches to kind of build him up.
A match with Melo. Listen.
Oh, yeah.
In what Melo would say, that match wouldn't miss. It wouldn't miss. It wouldn't. So honestly, we know that developmental wise, going to NXT and having to go ahead and sit there and learn under the wing of Shawn Michaels.
Oh yes, sit under the learning tree, baby.
Exactly. But
yes,
Pete, what would we see? Do we see anything past that though? That's the real question.
I think what you would have to do is build on him to see what he has. We know what he can do in ring, but if you're going to succeed in WWE and be anything higher than mid card or enhancement talent, even though you don't really have enhancement talent in WWE, you just job out and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We're in an era where enhancement talent has its own entrance music, so that didn't happen back in the 80s and 90s. Exactly. So I think what you're looking at is we're going to have to see what kind of promos he can cut, and if his promo skills improve, and we can kind of see something in there. And they don't lean too much on the nepotism aspect of, well, he's Brian Pillman's son. They'll obviously lean on it, but not to the extent that it basically creates who he is.
Like, Cody coming back and then just like, like out of nowhere, you have those memes that are coming in every week, just like Cody gets the mic. My father's Dusty Rhodes, and just put the mic down, and everybody's just like,
"Yes,
Cody, you go get that time." Yeah, I get where you're.
Could you imagine that? It's like, here's Charlotte. My dad is Ric Flair, and throw the mic down, and that's it. Thank you for showing up.
Gets the title shot easily. Just imagine, my father's Ric Flair. Next thing you know, Michael Charles is like, "Oh, breaking news! We have just learned from Adam Pearce that Charlotte Flair will be getting a title match next week on SmackDown." just because of that.
Exactly.
You know what? Don't give him ideas. Let's not.
Yeah.
The rest of the gods just may be hearing.
I think what we're seeing right now is, on all seriousness now, I think Pillman would be a great addition to the WWE, whether he is on NXT and then they figure Raw or SmackDown. While he's being built up, he's still relatively young. He's got more than enough of a physique for the company as far as marketing.
Of course.
Now let's see what they do afterwards. I think that main thing that they're going to have to work on, because he has the charisma, is getting his mic skills up. If they can work on that, get that to a point where they can then put it in a bottle and sell it, then you're going to have a lot of people that are going to want to actually pick that up and use it. And that's where the dilemma is. And especially in the WWE, where they have a ridiculous amount of talent. We talked about this years ago about all the talent that they got rid of that basically became AEW. Pillman is leaving a company that was rich in talent to go to another company that's just as rich in talent in AEW. So let's see where they go from there.
Exactly right. But I mean, we just have to wait for the reports. We just have to wait for them to say, he signed. But from what it is, it's looked like it's going in that direction. And when it does go in that direction, peeps, oh man, we'll be singing a bunch of hurrahs here on Saturday afternoon's main event. It will be something. It will be a sight to see, ladies and gentlemen. So who knows?
Yes,
it might be next week, might be the week after, might be after SummerSlam. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep our eyes open on Brian Pillman Jr.
Yes.
But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that marks the end of today's episode for Saturday afternoon's main event. We thank you guys for going ahead and sitting here and tuning in for us and just listening to us the whole hour and a half. You guys have been great.
Free.
Scat free.
Yes.
But plenty of our digressions. So right now, peeps, are we at 84, 85, 86?
We are right now at 83.
83.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, so we have 17 left before we hit 100 for the year, right?
Yes.
Wow, we've been on a roll.
Right there. I'm penciling in right now. We're at 83.
We've been on a roll.
Yes, we have.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you guys because without you guys, who knows how many I did. Yo, the fact that I digress is indebted into my vocabulary now due to the fact that Peeps used to use it. Peeps, thank you. I have to say.
No problem. Yes.
Hey, exactly. In the words of Damian Sandow, I'm welcome. Yes, I definitely.
And today is going to be an even bigger wrestling day for those AEW fans because you got Collision, and then you've got Battle of the Belts right after.
Exactly.
So you got even 3 hours of wrestling.
Even better, the Owen Hart Cup tournament.
Yes.
Finals.
Oh, yes.
We're talking maybe CM Punk and Ruby Soho as potential winners.
Potentially.
Although I would have loved to see Ricky Starks win.
Yes. I'm telling you right now, based on what we saw and then last week's Collision, it continues. We've talked about it, but here's the funny thing. Collision almost seems like a completely different brand compared to what we see on Dynamite.
Definitely.
And we're getting matches on Collision that we got Punk and we got Joe. We got a brilliant tag team match last week between Jay White and Juice Robinson versus FTR, which is one of the best tag team matches AEW has had this year. Great tag team match. And then, of course, as you just stated before, we got the Cup final later on today. Battle of the Belts afterwards. Let's see. They've got their act together on Collision.
Collision, yes.
Let's see what they do with Dynamite, because you can tell there's an obvious difference in philosophies between how they're booking Dynamite and how they're booking Collision.
You're not wrong on that, peeps. You are not wrong on that at all. But ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Let's hold peep to that one. Because honestly, it's just like, you're not wrong, peeps. It's just like the feeling that you get from Collision is just, it's solid. It's top tier. You really can't go ahead and you can't outshine that. So let's just wait and see. It's Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. So you know what that means. Yes. Let's look forward to Collision tonight. Let's look forward to Battle of the Belts. And let's enjoy the week ahead. That is the phenomenon of professional wrestling.
Blood and guts on Wednesday, folks. Blood and guts.
Kota Ibushi. Kota.
Yes.
We knew it was coming.
It's
not news to me. I saw it coming a long time back. So just to see, Kota Ibushi in the AEW ring, with the Golden Elite.
Yes.
Hey, please tell me the Elite wins. Imagine the Blackpool Combat Club just pulls out another victory just cause.
Oh man.
And the fact that Peeps brought up Pac 2 weeks ago, and now we find out that Pac is the fifth man. Where do you implement the bastard within all of this? I don't get it. So now it just looks like the Blackpool Combat Club is just full of a bunch of WWE rejects. Did I just say that?
Ay, ay, ay. There you go. There you go.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But you know what, guys? As I said, there's a lot to look forward to this week. So let's all, as wrestling fans, just enjoy it. All right.
Yes.
And it is with that on season 6, episode 3 of the phenomenon known to all as Saturday Afternoon's Main Event, that I, the phenomenal one,
And I, the Peeps Nate, where we came,
we saw,
and in the words of the wise man Paul Heyman, we conquered.
that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children,
Full circle, baby.
full circle. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Yes.
We love you. We thank you. It's the phenomenal one in Peeps Nate signing off from Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. Peace, love,